going on, everybody? Need to have the chat up just to read it. You guys wondering, I'm watching Sam and Colby. Yeah.
We go to see Kill Tony a lot. And a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a guy that I didn't know, and later I was talking to a guy that I did know, and he told me the guy I was talking to earlier was gay, and I didn't care if he was gay or not. I just didn't believe he was gay. He just didn't seem gay at all. I mean, whatever the fuck that means. I guess I don't have gaydar. I have paydar, so if you're selling pussy, 100% accuracy, 100% of the time. One tranny, but that was on me. I overlooked. I asked Jim Norton. I talked to him about it. I guess I can't tell if someone's gay or not. When I was like 20 years old, I was in a gas station bathroom, and I let a gay guy blow me. At least I think he was gay. He seemed gay.
He goes, you need police, fire.
What's your accidentally racist moment? 1. My dad asked a black female employee at Walmart for some help with picking a good watermelon. You look like you would probably know what's the best watermelon. His intentions were to be, I've seen you in produce many times. You seem to be the person to ask advice on choosing what is best to buy. He didn't realize his mistake until he was watching TV hours later and refused to go back for 2 months. 2. I wanted Indian food. My friends wanted Italian. After sitting down at an Italian restaurant, I opened the menu and joked, I don't see any Indian food. I look up at our Indian waiter asking for our orders. 3. Sergeant friend of mine had a dead battery and asked a helpful black man for a slave. In the Army, a slave cable is a specialized jumper cable designed to work on military vehicles, so asking for a slave is like asking for a jump. Nice civilian guy did not know this and just thought my friend was being a racist prick. 4. I told my coworker he had gorilla hands. He's black. As soon as I said it, I had a JD moment from Scrubs where I just screamed internally for 10 straight seconds. What's your accidentally racist moment?
Hi, Caleb. Not sure why you won't return my phone calls. Upon internal discussion, it was determined that Jonathan had no authority to fire you. The way he treated you was unfortunate.
As a parent, what did your child's school do that made you say you can't be serious? 17 years ago, when my daughter was 16, life was not easy. Let's put it this way, the fact that we survived the year was nothing short of a miracle. I get a call the last week of school in June, asking me to come in. Okay, I came in the next day, the second to last day of school. I'm sitting with the dean and she tells me that we have a serious problem. My daughter has missed more than 100 math classes. She just didn't show up. I blinked for a moment and said, let's get this straight. My daughter missed over 100 math classes and you only got around to telling me this now, when tomorrow is the last day of school. The dean stammered for a moment and I said, so, let's rephrase this. You brought me down here to cover your butt before school is over because no one called me about this before. Not the teacher, not the attendance department, not you, not the assistant principal. No one. My daughter was missing every day and no one said a word. I didn't get a call or a letter home. Now let's bring my daughter in. My daughter came in and sat next to me. I asked, I just found out you have over 100 cuts in your math class. Why didn't you go to math? Because the math teacher hates me. When I asked a question, she yelled at me for bothering me. As a parent, what did your child's school do that made you say you can't be serious? 17 years ago, my wife's midwife refused to let me back in the delivery room and made me miss my child's birth. Police officers have read it. What was your oath moment? Just checked onto my shift. As I turned my patrol car on, my radio was in mid-broadcast about an accident just outside the city I work in. I voluntarily checked en route to help out the best I could. While heading there, I was informed that it was actually closer to the next city over, but that I would still be the first one there. I was then told it was a head-on collision. I arrived on scene about a minute later. It was in fact a head-on collision. 5 people from one vehicle were not wearing seatbelts. All 5 were fatally injured beyond any measure. There was nothing I could do. A doctor showed up on scene shortly after me. Nothing he could do. I watched 2 adults and 3 children die in front of my eyes. The 6-year-old little girl just stared at me unblinking as she passed. I still get emotional. They were students at our elementary school. I knew them because I routinely go to that school just to see the little kids and give them junior police stickers. Take pictures with them and let them play with my gadgets and police car. I went to the memorial service that the school put on for the girls to pay my respects. Their father was there and didn't know who I was or that I was the first one there or what I saw. He was talking to another father, clearly in between denial and anger faces. about how he wished he knew what officer was on scene so he could kill him for not doing anything, and why didn't he do anything and blaming them for their deaths. That was really hard to hear. I wish I was a superhero and could have used magic powers to save those poor children. I'm sorry, little guys. You deserve to live your lives. Police officers are brave. What was your...
That was a sad-ass fucking
My
story.
husband's family didn't know I spoke their language. I'm Canadian, but my husband is German.
Watch this. That guy killed 10% of the population. They find out that during that time, carbon level, like people burning fire, decreased because there was less humans. Killed somewhere between 50 and 70 million people during his lifetime. Dude, they were lighting corpses on fire and launching them with catapults.
10 years. I've worked here for 10 years. I brought in 80% of our clients. I grew this company from a 6-man operation to a 60-person machine. I'm getting 20-hour days at nights away from my wife and children. My father died, and on the day of his memorial, you sit in beds, which I'm allergic to. And you know this, because at the lunch where you hired me, we ate roasted salad, and I went into anaphylactic shock. And along with the physical children, you sent a card with a one-line Hallmark message and a typed-out signature from the team. You see, for days, I've been plagued by this question. How do I honor my father's voice? And I realized I honor it by taking what I've learned from how he lived his life and having it shape the way I go on living mine. So here it is. I quit. Hold on. No issue. I walk out again. I came, I saw, I conquered. 10 years.
Is it so you have pain in one arm and both your legs? Right now? No. It's when I like put pressure on them. See? It hurts. I'm gonna do this. Ow. And this. Ow. And this. Ow. Like this. Ow.
Did you give House the moron with the broken finger?
They've been around for about 10 minutes.
I should have been screaming for another doctor 7 minutes ago.
Thanks, bruh. So you have pain. My wife's spending habits are ruining us. I lost my job.
This feisty kitten hates being kissed. Every time the woman goes for a kiss, the kitten fights back by putting his paw up. However, the woman doesn't care about the kitten's consent and keeps doing it. Then they always get into a staring contest, where the kitten complains about his mistreatment. However, the woman doesn't back down either, and the kitten always loses. This feisty kitten hates being kissed.
We asked our dads which characters they could beat in a fight.
Would you be Bugs Bunny?
My dad said, no, he would probably just end up turning my own skin inside out.
My dad said, no way in hell do I get a shot in on Bugs before he packs me up in a little box and ships me to the other side of the earth.
Could you beat Big Mom from One Piece?
My dad said, that's too much woman for me. Pass.
Mine said, I've been locked in a never-ending battle with your Big Mom for 24 years.
Could you beat Popeye the Sailor in a fight?
Popeye with spinach low dips me for real.
Mine said, do I get prep time? Then he said, the f*** am I thinking? If he gets spinach, it's over.
Could you beat Homer Simpson in a fight?
My dad said, LMAO, I rock his easy. Marge, Lisa, Bart, hell, even Maggie. I destroyed all of them in a 5v1. I mean, obviously.
Could you beat Aiden's dad in a fight? My dad said, why would I fight him? For you, LOL, I'm good.
Could you beat Sean's dad in a fight? Who is Sean? From the show. I don't know who that is. They've met like a trillion times.
We asked our dads which characters they could beat in a fight.
Would you beat Bugs Bunny?
My dad...
You don't drink. People always need to know why. They're like, you don't drink? What's acceptable for one gender, but not the other? Once when I was 18, I was traveling with a group of young people. One girl, 19, was into me and aggressive about it. I actually thought she was very attractive, but the fact that she didn't respect my consent meant that she instantly became unattractive. Anyway, a different girl, also 18, eventually came to my defense and reported the first girl to our group leader, who at 25 was the adult of our group. First girl got chewed out really bad. I didn't find out until later, but apparently the leader threatened to send her home early. First girl had conservative parents, so she would have been in major trouble if they knew she'd been harassing a guy. So, thanks to Emma, wherever you are, for reporting the creepy girl, even though I was ashamed to do it, and I asked you not to. Emma flirted with me too, but she respected my boundaries. Damn, I'm hindsight, I wish I bought Emma dinner, maybe seen where things went from there. She liked me, and she did a nice thing for me. I should have repaid her somehow. What's acceptable for one gender, but not the other? Once when I was 18, I was traveling with a group of young people. One girl...
I'm exhausted from saving lives, yet now I'm being called a jerk. I'm a medical resident. That day, I had just finished a grueling 28-hour shift in the ER. We had dealt with a major accident involving a truck that lost control and hit 6 cars. Throughout the night and the following day,
I wrote a song about riding the truck with my dad and,
What is the dumbest lie you believed as a kid? I was 7 years old. One of my teachers wanted us to write a letter to a family member, friend, or someone else. I wrote the letter, put it in the envelope. I got the stamp. My mom was working at the county jail at the time, and she suggested I write to one of the inmates who never received any mail. So I did. I wrote something along the lines of, "I'm sorry you're arrested, but I hope you get out." I even signed it with my 7-year-old signature. While I was writing the letter, my mom had gone to the store. When I finished my letter, I asked my older brother what our address was, because I needed to put a return address. He said 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C., and some numbers. For those that don't know, that's the address to the White House. I wrote it on the letter and put it with the mail my mom was sending out. The funny thing is that I grew up far away from Pennsylvania and never left my state. Years later, I went to pick my mom up from work, and one of the co-workers called me Mr. President, and I asked why he said that. He mentioned the letter I wrote years prior and how it was a funny joke in the jail anytime my mom mentioned me. What is the dumbest lie you believed as a...
Quaker, what's the weirdest thing someone casually told you as if it were totally normal? 1. A friend of mine was explaining to me why he had to repeat kindergarten. When I was 5, I was at family barbecue and I couldn't find my dad. I looked all over, and finally I found him in the garage. He was tied to a chair and 2 of his cousins were beating the shit out of him. A couple of days later, my dad was driving me to school, and he saw one of the cousins walking down the street. He pulled over, jumped out of the car, and shot his cousin in the head. I missed too many days of kindergarten because of the murder trial, so I had to repeat it. He said it like this was the most normal story ever. 2. I was chatting to a woman in the grocery checkout line, and she commented that she'd lost a lot of weight. Since I needed to lose weight, I asked her how she did.
What is something about yourself that sounds totally made up, but is 100% real? 1. When I was a kid, I woke up to my cat giving birth to her kittens on my pillow, about an inch from my face. I took it as a compliment. 2. My dad's name is Luigi, and my uncle's name is Mario. Yes, they are brothers. 3. Once in college, I applied for a job at the library help desk. I thought I'd be helping people find books. During the interview, I aced all the customer service questions. Then they asked if I knew how to defrag a hard drive. Alarm bells went off, but I kept calm and said, "No, but you can teach me." I ended up working in IT for 3 years by accident, because they were too nice to fire me. 4. In 10th grade biology, I discovered my father wasn't my biological father. We were learning about blood types, and I raised my hand to correct a chart, thinking I was being clever. I said, "My dad is AB negative, and I'm O positive. This chart must be wrong." My teacher joked, "I think your mom has some explaining to do." Turns out he wasn't my father. 5. One of my ancestors bought a doorknob, claiming it was from Napoleon's house. It wasn't. Turns out doorknobs were invented after Napoleon died. 6. At the age of 50-something, with little to no video game experience, my mother completed Super Mario 64 in half the time it took me to finish. 7. My great-great-grandfather was a Pinkerton detective, active in vaudeville, and had 5 wives in 2 different states, none of whom knew about each other. He slightly changed his last name each time and never got caught. Until, of course, Ancestry.com came along. 8. I was run over by a car, and then the driver backed over me again because they didn't see me. What is something about yourself that sounds totally made up, but is 100% real? 1. When I was a...
Are you... What's the dumbest way you've managed to get laid? Met a girl, asked her out to dinner. She agreed. A few nights later, we are out. As we are concluding dinner, I tell her the dessert at this restaurant sucks, but I have some better dessert at my place. I was being sincere as I had some homemade dessert. A co-worker, significant other had made me recently, and it was delicious. Still, some of the best fudge brownies I've ever had, and I had some vanilla ice cream to pair with it. We go back, and she asks to use the bathroom. I go to the kitchen to prep dessert. I soon hear her call my name from the bedroom. The bedroom was connected to the bathroom by the closet, which I found odd walk-in. The girl is very bare and in a position of preparedness, for lack of a better term, and I'm standing there dumbfounded with a big bowl full of brownies and ice cream with 2 spoons. The intercourse was great, and the brownies afterward were banging by far one of my more eventful evenings. What's the dumbest way you've managed to get... What is something that no one...
What is
something that no one seems to...
What is something teenagers understand more than adults? When I was in high school, I was the target of a bully.
So how's everybody today? Hope it's going good. Yeah.
What's the fastest you've seen a new hire get fired? So this kid comes into the restaurant.
That video is gonna be the first of many shorts. I was just fucking up on some Master Duel, so we might get some more videos of me playing some PC games for once. So that's good news. That's very good news. So be prepared for that. So yay. Yay.
Thinking he can boss people around because he just finished culinary school. That's strike one. Then I catch him vaping in the kitchen prep area. That's strike two. The very next day, halfway through his shift and after burning a pan of frogs, the kid asks if he can leave for 30 minutes to go make a drug deal. Needless to say, that was strike three. What's the fastest you've seen a new hire get fired? So this kid comes into the restaurant on his first day. Want me to keep talking even if nobody's listening? This happened when I was around 14, 15. I was telling a story to my dad, and at one point, he interrupted me, told me, keep talking, I'm listening very carefully, then left and closed the door. I didn't know it at the time, but he was very proud of his joke. He made it to my mom a couple of times. She never liked it. Anyway, I thought it was somewhat funny, but also pretty rude. Never mind. I knew an opportunity to teach my dad a lesson would come sooner than later. So I waited. And a couple of hours later, he would come and ask me to do the dishes. Me. You know I can't. Him. What do you mean you can't? Why can't you do the dishes? Me. I told you earlier. Him. No, you didn't. Me. Yes, I did. You know this. You told me you were listening very carefully. Him realizing what I was doing. Oh, right. Well, could you remind me? I forgot. Me. No way. I'm not repeating myself. I already gave you a very simple and rational explanation. My dad was strict, but he knew when he was beaten at his own game. He did the dishes that day, and he never made the joke again. Want me to keep talking even if nobody's listening? This happened when I was around 14, 15. I was telling a story to my dad, and at one point, we both started...
Oh, well, good afternoon. Confection? What the hell is that? Why are we sticking glue and going around it? I'm going to get nauseous. Hello? Is that glass? Oh my god, it sounds like something out of Star Wars. Isn't it supposed to cut it? Oh, I'm just going to shut my mouth. Is it the perfect circle there? Why did it make you click at the end? Oh, it's going to smash in it. Oh my god.
The order I'm making actually caused a fight with a customer a minute ago. Well, not necessarily the customer, but their I'm Gonna Die Alone ad friend. Basically, they came by and ordered like normal. Instead of getting mac and cheese, they wanted a grilled cheese. And they put some pretty normal toppings on it, but their friend jokingly said, oh, you really went out of your way to make sure it wasn't vegan. I mean, I can only assume the friend was vegan. I mean, who else would notice that? I was looking at the order, I was like, okay, they got brisket on there and added some mac and cheese and whatnot. So I get all that, but having main character syndrome, I decided to say, oh, I'm pretty sure the sauce that they used was vegan. Which, big mistake if you've ever dealt with Karen vegans before, which are different from regular vegans. They just laughed at me and said I was an idiot if I thought honey was vegan, which I must be an idiot because I'm a vegetarian and I definitely thought honey was vegan. But the actual customer was on my side and was like, there's no way that honey is not vegan. So I'm pretty sure they're still fighting, but I told them I would come here and see if anyone...
What's a dead giveaway that's...
I want you to imagine...
You just pronounce this, man. What's the weirdest rule at your job? My office has quite a casual dress.
I heard this one story in Mexico about this dude who was a Marine soldier in Mexico, I think.
Sorry, this is a crime scene.
Better be on the bioremediation. Beg your pardon? Crime scene cleaner?
Right. You would have thought 90% of the job would be scrubbing.
Starting with the Hoover? No, I'm grading the forensic team's work. Looks like Tip Johnson's guy. I give him a B+. You know the habits of all the FSU team? Fingerprint powder here, when someone's trying to hold the door shut, someone's trying to push their way in. Blood drops? The blood drops are circular. That means the victim was standing still. And the faster they move, the more elongated the drop.
So the narrow part of the drop will indicate the direction of the victim. Set the direct. People grab a hold of the bookshelf, hold it down, on the windowsill, but that's not reaching the desktop. The victim is on the desktop.
You know what makes holes like that?
And the others is a
This doesn't make any
sense. I've got two pieces of wood. One's a rectangular piece with a large hole and a slit. The other is this wooden tube, which if I hold steady, you should be able to see all the way through. It's got a hole in the top and a hole in the bottom, and the rectangular piece of wood goes all the way through it like this. Now I've got a toothpick. I've got a toothpick through those two holes. That blocks the rectangular piece of wood from going through the tube. If I take out the toothpick, partially insert the rectangular piece of wood, it will move through the tube because of that slit, but it won't come all the way out, as you can see. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this pound coin, this British coin, into that large hole in the rectangular piece of wood. I have to push it partly in at the tube because there's no bottom to hold the pound coin in place. It's not an optical illusion, it's definitely going all the way into the tube. The toothpick is running through the tube, but the weird thing is if I press the rectangular piece of wood, you'll see that it passes all the way through the toothpick. See, there's the coin, completely solid. There's the toothpick, completely solid. Since the wood is solid, it is empty. Told you it didn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense.
You subtly fuck with people. 1. I asked a guy at work if he'd ever got that creepy deja vu feeling. A week later, I did it again. And again. 2. Instead of giving asshole drivers the bird, I wag my finger at them like they're a child. It gets people way more upset. 3. I rotate my friend's TV a little to the left each time I visit. 4. By using Bing instead of Google as a verb. 5. Take notes. This works brilliantly with angry customers, but even better with your boss. When you're faced with a meeting with your supervisor, especially one where they feel like they're in a power position, take a notepad with you and take notes of everything they say. Instantly ruins their power trip by making them question everything they say. 6. Not super subtle, but a guy told me I looked really familiar and asked if we met before. He said, "You look familiar. Have we met or something?" Nope. Weird. You look really familiar. Odd. Do you watch a lot of adult videos? The look on his face was fucking priceless. I like to think that now whenever he watches adult videos, he is looking for me. To make it funnier, I'm a dude. You subtly fuck with people. 1. I asked a guy at work if he...
What's the easiest way someone can ruin their life? In my freshman year, we had to watch a video on the second or third day of school because a rising senior had passed away in a drunk boating accident over the summer. Most of the other students weren't paying attention, and some were even making fun of the video. A few weeks later, there was a memorial party for the student who passed away, followed by an after party where alcohol flowed freely. One of the deceased student's close friends, who had been deeply affected by the accident, ended up wrapping his car around a tree after drinking heavily. He didn't survive. The autopsy revealed that he had consumed so much alcohol that he should have been getting his stomach pumped due to alcohol poisoning. We had to sit through the same video again, and yet the behavior of the other students remained unchanged. Even those who had been weeping in the halls after the second death still thought the video was pointless. Honestly, I think it was a minor miracle that no one else died while I was in high school. What's the easiest way someone can ruin their life? What's the men, what did your girlfriend do that made you smile like an idiot? I was watching a movie earlier today with this girl who I love more than anything. In the middle of it, her mom called, so obviously we paused and she stepped out of the room, but was still right next to the door. Since the phone was on speaker, I could hear what they were saying. I have been dating her for 9 months, but I still don't know what her parents think of me. So I tried to listen, and the first thing her mom said when she picked up the phone was, "Why are you smiling like that? Is Aaron there?" Aaron is my name, and technically, it could have been a non sequitur, but she said the two sentences with no pause or change of inflection in between. So I got to know that the way my girlfriend smiles when she's with me is different from usual. That in turn had me smiling like an idiot when she came back to the couch, and I got smacked in the face for not telling her why. Men, what did your girlfriend do that made you smile?
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, you might... What the hell is this Bruce Lee shit? Oh, hit back. Forget this clown.
You gotta go easier, Cobra. At this rate, nobody wants to spar with you. We got 3 more rounds. What about him? No. Hey, I said no. What the fuck?
So, Mr. Miyagi, practicing your wax on, wax off? Those rude, snore people. Did your mama teach you better? Nah. Case is still staying with you.
It's okay. It's forward.
See? We're all good.
It's okay.
a nerd, not a geek. And what's the difference, you say, between a nerd and a geek? I actually have a Venn diagram to show you. I have lots of graphs and charts. Be prepared. It takes three things to be a nerd. You have to be smart, socially awkward, and obsessed. All three of those things. Sir, you're just laughing at the chart, sir. Clearly, he's in marketing.
What?
Smart, socially awkward, and obsessed, you're a nerd. Geeks, on the other hand, tend to be just smart and obsessed. They're just Star Trek geeks, comic book geeks. They go to conventions. They go to public events. Not nerds. I'm not at a convention unless I'm working IT support. That's the only reason I'm there. Up here, if you're smart and socially awkward, you're a dork. And we have all spent time in the dork region. And if you're socially awkward and obsessed, you're a stalker. See how that works? And by the way, I am a nerd. I am not a geek. I'm a nerd, not a geek. And what's the difference, you say, between a nerd and a geek? I actually have a Venn diagram to show you.
Wait a minute. I'm red, green, colorblind. I'm getting red and green. Hold on a second here. Wait, Cap, if I'm red, green, colorblind, which one is wrong? Oh, no. So for the two colors I can't see. You? Dear God. Oh, dear God. Actually, wait for hold on a second. These are red. These are red. Why are none of these red? Oh, actually, this isn't even a bit. Ha! Okay, there's the red. The red. Green. Yellow. Oh my God, there's the red. Wait a minute. I'm red, green, colorblind. I'm getting red and green. Hold on a second here. Wait, Cap, if I'm red, green, colorblind, which one is wrong? Oh, no. So for the two colors I can't see. You? Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God.
Count 1, guilty. Count 2, guilty. Count 3, guilty. Count 1, guilt. When a customer crossed the line, I made sure she wouldn't forget it. What happened next? Well, things got very real. I work as an overnight cashier at a gas station, and most nights are quiet. But this one customer, she was something else. She came in at 11:30 with a lottery ticket, well past the time we shut down the machine at 10 p.m. for updates. I politely told her the machine was off for the night, but she scoffed, saying I didn't want to do my job. I explained it again, and she threw the ticket on the ground, storming to grab some beer. She slammed the cans on the counter, and I asked for her ID. She rolled her eyes, questioning if it was really necessary, even though it's store policy and the law. After a few minutes of back and forth, she finally handed me face red with anger. Then she started going on, claiming my manager would fire me for this. I wrote down my name and my manager's free time and invited her to complain. She left, swearing she'd come back and kick my ass. Later, I texted my managers the whole story. A few regulars, who were local sheriffs, came in for coffee, and I told them what happened. They promised to keep an eye out. 2 days later, she parked by the dumpster and waited outside for hours. I called a tow truck and let the cops know. She ended up in handcuffs as her car was towed away. And no, I didn't get in trouble with management. When a customer crossed the line, I made sure she wouldn't forget it. What happened next? Well, things got very real. I work as an overnight...
Who's the biggest attention seeker you've ever met? In high school, Julie was the kind of girl who craved male attention. She would often poke fun at us, her actual friends, just to get the guys to laugh. After she spilled one of my embarrassing secrets to some boys, we kicked her out of our friend group. Guys are more fun to hang out with anyway. Girls are all drama, she said. When prom season arrived, Julie planned her meanest stunt yet. She asked the kid with no friends to prom. You could see how thrilled he was that a girl had asked him out, but we knew better. Renee, the only one in our group who was still on decent terms with Julie, asked her why she had really invited the loner. Turns out, Julie had no intention of showing up. Her plan was to humiliate the unpopular kid by standing him up. Renee told the guys, and since they weren't fond of Julie either, they weren't going to let it happen. One of the popular guys asked Julie to prom instead to spare the kid from embarrassment. Naturally, she accepted, but when prom day came, Julie showed up only to discover that her date had stood her up. She ended up in the exact situation she had planned for that kid, and she left the school in tears. Who's the biggest attention seeker you've ever met? In high school, Julie was the... People who work for the super wealthy, what stuff have you seen? The CEO of the company I worked for was the founder's son. His dad made him start with the most basic jobs in the company and work his way through the different departments. Staff was ordered not to treat him any differently than a new hire. So when he became CEO, he wasn't a bad guy to work for. One night, I'm working the late shift, and he calls, "Hey, you guys got electrician?" He is clearly drunk. He wants someone to take a ride to his house and to figure out why the internet isn't working. I volunteered. I get to the house. The entry gate is smashed. A section of the light horse fencing is gone. Jaguar is stuck in the field. Here in the house is Dude, completely blasted. He's got a huge cut on his hairline. Are you okay, boss? I'm fine. Why? He asks, blood literally caked on his face. I accompany him to the bathroom and help him clean himself up. Then I corrected the internet. Unplug plug. As I'm walking out, he asks me to do a shot with him. I comment that it might be a bad idea. He agrees and I take it home and do a shot later. When I get back to work, I make the stuff up. It's a $1,500 bottle of scotch. The next day, he comes walking up. We're not going to be talking about last night. I tell him it's all good. A little bit later, I get an envelope. There's a check attached for emergency tech support, $5,000. People who work for the super wealthy, what stuff have you seen?
How many billion Earth-like planets exist just in our solar system alone? In the galaxy, 20 billion, something like that. It's 1 in 10 stars. So the odds of complex life out of our incredibly fortunate situation, but the odds of that occurring on any of these billions of other planets that exist? We don't know. But let's say it was on the fortunate side. So we're talking about, give or take, 4 billion years, right? The origin of life's now. And we have a civilization now. Our species has been around, what, 4 million years or something? So it's just now, basically. So let's say 4 billion is on the fortunate side. Let's say that it was double that, or triple that on the average. Suddenly, that's the age of the universe. So how many of those worlds have been stable for 3 or 4 billion years? That's quite a tall order, actually. It looks like our solar system might be quite unusual in that respect. How many billion Earth-like planets exist just in our solar system?
Blake's girlfriend actually has a slow grandmother. Well, grandmother, when a man has a rather large number, that is a slow. School is in session.
Yeah, what's a large number? I'll continue to eat lunch with you.
You know.
When I was a kid, my sister told me that the paper strip that's in the...
Mr. Gambini, are you mocking me with that outfit?
Mocking you? No, I'm not mocking you, Judge.
Then explain that outfit.
I bought a suit. You've seen it. Now it's covered in mud. This town doesn't have a 1-hour cleaner, so I had to buy a new suit. Except that the only store you could buy a new suit in has got the flu. You get that? The whole store got the flu. So I had to get this in a second-hand store. So it's either wear the leather jacket, which I know you hate, or this. So I wore this. Ridiculous thing for you.
You on drugs?
Drugs? No, I don't take drugs.
I don't like your attitude.
What else is new?
I'm holding you in contempt of court.
That is a fucking surprise.
What'd you say?
What?
What'd you say?
What I say? What?
Mr. Gambini, are you mocking me with that outfit?
Mocking you? No.
Then explain that outfit.
I bought a suit. You've seen it.
When this guy was late getting home from work, he was worried that his cat named Albert would be sitting there waiting for him. And this is exactly why. Take a look. When this guy was late getting home from work, he was worried that his cat named Albert would be sitting there waiting for him. And this is exactly why. Take a look.
Stand up straight. Wipe your glasses. Tuck in your shirt.
Dan, you agreed Steve would be raised my way.
I'm not being strict with Steve. Steve's out there. You won the race, and you can raise Steve however you like. This is a clone I had made of the CIA for me to raise how I want. I'm calling him Steve Arena.
Hi, Mom. Welcome home, Father. We won the big game against St. John's, and I scored a touchdown.
That's great, son. Isn't that great, Francine?
Like, you're so brave with your stupid trophy. I have a trophy, too. It's the Spanky Award.
13 if you count Ghost mode.
Father, may I watch television with Steve?
No can do, son. You got an A- in biology. You get that grade up, I'll let you watch a full hour of Fox News or city council meetings on Channel 36.
Great! I'll go hit the books.
Face the facts. My parenting is superior. Man up straight. Wipe your glasses. Tuck in your shirt.
Do you ever feel like Blake, Mayor, I think I found something for our mullet roast tool.
This is a $30,000 bus. Okay, where do you want me to wire the money?
Well, I could sell one of my kidneys in ways, since I don't really use those necessarily.
I think you should keep all of your body parts just in case.
Okay, how about my friend? Should I sell those? How about pickles rolling around that I don't know about?
Maybe that would be a good prank idea. Unless you're a carrier. Do you think no one's a carrier?
Nah. Blake, Mayor, I think I found.
Did you know about the dark origins of our black sheep? This seemingly innocent line has roots in medieval England, where wool was a staple of trade. Back then, the king imposed hefty taxes on sheep farmers, who were expected to pay a share for every fleece produced. The rhyme references a black sheep, which was rare and often regarded as a symbol of wealth. So while children sing about the farmer's delight, they're unwittingly echoing a protest against unfair taxation. Today, we remember the playful tune, but its origin tells a tale of struggle, economics, and the heavy burden of taxation in the rural populace. Thanks for watching. What is your favorite dog root of life?
I broke up with the love of my life after meeting his insane family just once. A few days ago, I flew over to meet my fiancé's family for the first time. He has warned me about them, and as soon as I came into the home, some things about them just didn't sit right with me. His mom is very possessive about him. Like the first thing she said when she saw me was, "So you are the lady that keeps my son busy." I know it sounds like a joke, but she said it in a condescending tone. Throughout the entire gathering, she was trying to avoid me. She would get irritated whenever I got closer to my fiancé, and even at one point yelled at me not to do that when I gave him a peck on the cheek. She made one very mean comment when I asked her for a piece of pie she made. She said I will not be able to fit in my dress if I eat any more of it. She deliberately made me sit far away from him so that she could sit beside me. I knew she didn't like me, and she kept making it so obvious. She made many jokes about my size, which is crazy because I'm not even chubby, much less fat. There was one instance where she asked me for a glass of water, and when I got her it, she proceeded to spit in it and tell me she changed her mind and doesn't want it anymore, then told me to wash the glass out. She then made some snide remarks about my I broke up with the love of my life after meeting his insane family just once. A few days ago, I flew over to meet my fiancé's family for the first time.
Folks in cold areas typically have a tradition of cleaning their chimneys before winter hits. In northeastern China, residents' newly installed chimneys are all cast iron. Consequently, their approach to chimney maintenance might differ from other people.
Quaker. I'm going to show you how to season one of these molcajetes. If you want to make sure your molcajete is the real deal, look for little holes. They should be imperfect. There's a lot of fake ones out there made out of concrete, so don't get scammed. And if it's made in Mexico, even better. Dry rice, and grinding it until it's very fine. This is the first step. Make sure you get all the way up to
What is just a placebo? What is just a placebo effect that most people don't realize? One, when I was a waitress, customers would ask me to change the temperature because they were too hot or cold. I'd go stand in the back, drink some water, and tell them I adjusted it. It worked every time. 2.0 Beats headphones have weights inside them to make them feel heavier, giving the illusion of quality and sturdiness. 3, Coinstar machines have a fake delay with counting noises built in, so people feel more confident in the results. It actually finishes processing quickly. 4, as an IT person, I can confirm that giving someone a new monitor will make them swear their computer is faster. 5, Homeland Security's own inspectors were able to get illegal items through TSA checkpoints 70% of the time. Airport security is more placebo than actual prevention. 6, that minty fresh feeling you get from toothpaste is more of a marketing strategy. We now associate associate minty freshness with cleanliness. 7. When I do creative commissions, if I deliver next day, people think I didn't spend enough time on it. But if I wait 3 days, they assume I worked on it nonstop, even though I finished earlier. 8. I swear my car performs better immediately after it's cleaned. 9. My dog's medicine, when it comes from his treat tin instead of the original packaging, somehow tastes better to them. 10. Free shipping usually means they've added the cost into the product, but you feel like you've gotten a better deal. 11. The original Febreze was unscented, but no one believed it worked, so they added a scent to it. What is just a placebo effect, but most people don't?
They're just statues. I've always wanted to see what I look like redheaded, so I'm going to turn myself into a redheaded baddie. This is the look I'm going for. Hopefully my boyfriend doesn't like it too much. Growing up, I had really pretty hair, and so everyone told me not to cut it or dye it, so I've just kind of stuck with that. When I was walking into a grocery store once, this kid sees me, he goes, goth? Emo? Okay. I get judged every single place I go. When I was in the skate rink once, there was like a moth. Do it, Arrow.
I don't know yet. Quicker. Find me.
These are fire baskets
Or
arrows,
whatever.
and as the name suggests, they're used to make fire arrows. Scared the shit out of me, that is. Today, I'm going to take you through some of the actual historical ingredients used in the construction of incendiary arrows. I've chosen a small handful of components, but historically speaking, there are many more to choose from, and there are lots of different ways to construct an incendiary arrow. And this is all based on information you can find in historical records and period manuscripts. Got some linseed oil, some pine resin, some charcoal and a bit of dead wood, got some potassium nitrate, some natural fibres, and a bit of linen. You combine them together into an incendiary mix, something a little bit like that. You then stuff it inside the fire basket. Then you can also wrap it in linen and dip it in pine resin for good measure. Once the core was burning hot enough, even if the outer flames were to be extinguished upon loosing the arrow, when it lands, it would often reignite. These are fire basket arrows, and as
What are lesser known biological differences between men and women? 1. Men are 4 times more likely to be acoustic than women. 2. Men are more prone to stuttering. Moderate stuttering is 3 times more likely in men, and severe stuttering is 10 times more likely. 3. Women have longer teeth than men. 4. Only women can pass on mitochondrial DNA to their children. If a man has a mitochondrial defect, the disease will not be passed on. 5. Men are better at focusing on a singular sound. This trait, though less useful now, may stem from our hunter-gatherer roots. For instance, if your child is playing in an orchestra, a father might be better able to single out their sound compared to the mother. 6. Men have slightly larger veins than women, making it easier to draw blood from men on average. 7. Collagen fibers under men's skin are more crisscrossed than women. This difference explains why women are more prone to cellulite, and why men often find it easier to open jars. 8. Men have longer eyelashes than women. Using mascara is technically enhancing a more masculine trait rather than a feminine one. 9. Men and women have different visual abilities. Women tend to have a wider peripheral vision, allowing them to spot things more quickly, while men have tunnel vision, giving them better depth perception. 10. The stereotypical female handwriting may have a scientific basis. Girls tend to develop fine motor skills earlier than boys and grip writing implements differently, possibly due to the influence of their males. 11. Men have more sweat glands than women. This explains why after an hour at the gym, men's shoes might smell like Fritos, while women's shoes, even after being worn all day, often just smell like lotion. 12. Men walk differently than women when standing up. Men often do a quick side step to unstick their anatomy from their legs. What are lesser known biological differences between men and women? 1. Men are 4 times more likely to be acoustic than women. 2. Men.
What's your they didn't realize I could understand their language story? I'm a black American. My dad was military and stationed in Korea from his late teens to mid-20s. He picked up on the language, and as a child, he taught me. It was like our secret language to talk around my mom, and she hated it. Anyway, I went to college with a large Asian population. While me and some friends were in a study room, a group of students came and they asked us in English to leave so they could use the room. There was no time limit, no sign up, no nothing where they had that right. So I explained that we were here first. Why do they want this particular room? Then they start speaking Korean and say something along the lines of course the black jerk is being difficult. They've been here for a while. They need to leave. Maybe we can lie and say the professor reserved. I respond in Korean. Call me a jerk in English so I can punch you, and everyone in this room knows why. Their faces turned bright red. They couldn't say anything. They just looked at me in shock and then left the room. What's your they didn't realize I could understand their language story? I'm a black American, right?
The game is rate it or hate it, and the rules, they're pretty simple. Leave a thumbs up in the comments if you like this card, and leave a thumbs down if you don't. Let's see what you think about this one. The game is rated or...
What happened that time? You saw the fury of a patient woman. I've been in the Coast Guard for a few years now, and along the way, I met a guy we'll call Joe. Joe is calm, soft-spoken, has a wife and 2 daughters, but knows when to be authoritative. He's always nice and works hard. Then there's Jill, a loud, annoying, disrespectful to lower-ranking people, and always bragging about her CISO. We called her a Blue Falcon. One night, Joe and his crew were out on a rescue mission for over 6 hours, returning around 2 or 3 a.m. Exhausted, they collapsed on the couches in the lounge, and someone left a note on the door. The crew sleep happened that time you saw the fury of a patient man? I've been in the Coast Guard.
No way. Holy shit. It's my car. It's my car from the very first special. Is that? It can't be James Flood. I don't believe it. That is astonishing. I'm slightly choked up. If you could finish the task in 30 minutes, the ceiling will...
This Caracal cat hates everyone but one person. She's so aggro that whenever someone walks by her, she has to attack them. Even groups don't help. But when this guy comes home, her mood changes instantly. She even yowls like a baby. You can tell who the favorite human is. This Caracal cat hates everyone but one person. She's so aggro that whenever someone walks by her, she has to attack them. Even groups don't help. But when this guy comes home, her mood changes instantly. She even yowls like a baby. You can tell who the favorite human is. This Caracal cat hates everyone but one person. She's so aggro that whenever someone walks by her, she has to attack them. Even groups don't help. But when this guy comes home, her mood changes instantly. She even yowls like a baby. You can tell who the favorite human is.
Where do we miss the end? I miss every single vampire we encounter so well. Are you asking above the table, or did you just want to ask Strahd himself? Oh, yeah, I guess I could just ask him directly. Once you're Strahd, before you sink your freshly sharpened teeth into my supple neck, answer me this. How does one such as yourself encounter such fine fortunes? Well, you see, right. You're going with that as the Strahd? Yeah, it's the Count. From Sesame Street? My dear boy, I have been on this mortal realm for 450 years. Right, and your point is? And if after 450 years I was still broke, I would have walked directly into the sunlight and offed myself. Where do we miss the end? I miss every single vampire we encounter.
Here's some historical facts that will mess with your perception of time. McDonald's opened its doors in the year 1940. Albert Einstein died in the year 1955, and Elvis Presley was born in 1935, meaning there was a 5-year window where Elvis Presley and Albert Einstein could have gotten lunch at McDonald's. Oxford University started teaching students in the year 1096. This was before books were invented. The dinosaurs that died to the asteroid were walking on top of fossilized dinosaur bones. That's how long dinosaurs were here. The pyramids of Giza were as ancient to the Romans as the Romans are to us. The fax machine was invented before the sewing machine? What? The modern-day escalator was patented 2 years before the Civil War started. Harriet Tubman was born when Thomas Jefferson was alive and died when Ronald Reagan. Here's some historical facts that will mess with your perception of.
What's the weirdest thing your partner does that you just accepted? 1. My husband talks to himself in the third person when he's alone, narrating his actions like he's hosting a cooking show. Stuff like, ladies and gentlemen, X has done it again. He's made the best omelet in history. Oh, look, he's opening the fridge. Is he going for orange juice? Yes, he is. It's actually pretty entertaining, especially when he forgets to finish his sentence and just keeps doing things in silence. 2. My husband occasionally talks in his sleep and sometimes laughs like a little girl while he's asleep. It cracks me up, but it also creeps me out at the same time. 3. He eats minced garlic straight out of the jar with a fork. I just tell myself, at least he's not a vampire. 4. When he wakes up in the morning, he gets fully dressed just to walk to the bathroom, only to take everything off again and shower. Why? I'll never understand. 5. My partner blames his farts on inanimate objects. He's blamed the house, the cat, me, even though we were the only 2 people in the room. A plastic dinosaur, and even a sandwich stick. He does sock shoe, like a psycho. 7. Mine is a nurse, and will randomly check my pulse or other things about me without telling me. Sometimes, I catch her doing it and feel like I'm part of some weird experiment. He gets really concerned about his socks. When folding laundry, he'll count them and get upset if one is missing, often accusing me of doing something with them. Like I would mess with his socks.
Alrighty guys, I guess I'm gonna hop off for a little while so this my tablet can charge up and shit. So if you guys want to see some more shit, I'll have more videos posted up, and peace out.
Especially when he forgets to finish his sentence.